Hey guys, it's your humble host, or kid if you prefer, and happy 4th of July to you. This is my second take of this video. So, I hope you guys have found some way or finding some way to celebrate the holiday. There's a lot of places that have canceled fireworks and whatnot. Anyway, I had thought at first about going through the conversation I had 2 days ago about specifically the Star Spangled Banner, which is played at the beginning of every celebration or sports game that we have, hockey, baseball, what have you. And as I was doing the video, it was turning from 20 minutes to 30 to 40 because there was a lot. I pretty much just lost 2 people because there was a lot of assumption about me, and one of them decided to delete a lot of my comments and block me, therefore creating this hug box. And now, because for some reason I still can see this thread, even though I'm blocked from it, and I got people trying to tag and talk to me on this particular thread, and there's context missing, and I tried to repost several times. Person wanted to go in their little hug bubble, and so anyway, I want to read. I'm not going to show them on screen. I don't want people going after this person. I don't want people attacking them, and because privacy here on YouTube, the claims are kind of busted, I don't want to get my video or channel struck. So thank you. We will not be doing that. Pretty much what I'm going to go into is kind of like a summarization. I'm going to read a few comments because there's 2 different threads here. Let me find the first one. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who don't recognize this flag, if you have not learned about it yet or are a little bit young, this is how the original United States flag looked, the original 13 colonies. This name for this flag is called Old Glory, made by Betsy Ross. So I thought I'd share it. Anyway, so here's the, I'm going to read one of the threads here. This is between me and the individual. You might unfriend me after this, but you're slowly becoming a meme, dude. No, we don't need to get rid of our national anthem. It is for everybody. This is nothing more than subtle segregation. And it is, because here's the post that he did. You guys know the argument going around that we need to get rid of the Star Spangled Banner and put a black anthem, because the NFL, by the way, and I'm sure there's a hashtag, I've not dug into it, what the hashtag is at the moment, NFL to play the black anthem before games. And so this individual put, well, the national anthem is a racist song. How? Written by a slave owner. So because it's written by a slave owner, that's what makes it racist. Don't you know? We need a new song altogether. So let me go back to the thread. LOL, a meme, dude. Did you know who wrote the song? Do you know all the lyrics? Or the author that was a slave owner and was pro-slavery? Please answer yes or no to all of those questions. Yes, and so what? We have things due to rapists, murderers, Nazis, etc. Good grief. You can't throw everything that has a quote-unquote bad origin, or the person who created it or wrote it was bad. Because at that point, everything would be in the garbage. Yes, and so what? Gotcha. But that apparently my response triggered them. And they go, I'm not reading anything else. You comment, like I told you before, I'm not going to argue with you, which you didn't want to address any counterpoint or anything I gave to you. So when being told, because a lot of people are actually kind of like this, when being told what the BLM stands for, and they do own the phrase Black Lives Matter, because that is their freaking brand, by the way, because another individual that's very close to this one got involved and made various assumptions about me, saying that I didn't believe that racism was real, which, by the way, I have a mixed family. I've talked about on my channel various times how I still believe that there's legit racism, but the reason why it exists is different from back then. It is now being used as a tool. It is being spread by certain leaders. Obama was one of them. But BLM as a whole is being used as a tool. It is a George Soros funded and created movement that was handed over to a bunch of hurting people who just went freaking nuts with it. You have parts of it that want to kill white people. You have parts of it that want to kill officers. You have parts of it that have the Black Panthers involved, which are Muslim police. So the group itself overall is not healthy. And they want to destroy the nuclear family. The leaders are trained Marxists, by the way, who want to usher in socialism. Again, trained Marxists, funded by George Soros, who, by the way, wants to create a school that speaks out against nationalism. He is one of these freaking global elites that wants everything under one government. If you think less with your emotions and more with your logic, and here's the problem, because I'm not going to go through the entire conversation, because I pretty much told this individual, and these set of individuals, you cannot rewrite a country's origin. Who gives a flying shit what the author did prior to writing the Star Spangled Banner? Who gives a damn? Because whatever he tried to put in the song, subconsciously, whatever, did not make it out in the end. Everyone from Martin Luther King to our soldiers who are people of color, of various races, ethnicities, backgrounds, immigrants, legal immigrants, those who are becoming legal immigrants, have all embraced the Star Spangled Banner as their anthem. So to go on and say, oh, well, we need this, we need our own separate anthem. No, you freaking don't. You guys talked about so long, I'm not just saying people of color, but people who are back in the BLM, and I'm not talking about George Soros, we're talking about the people who are running solely on their emotions and cannot see the bigger picture going on. I'm not saying to forget what you see, because like I said, there is legit racism, but what I'm saying is you have people who are running around wild who have no idea what's really going on, because, let me point this out, it is more than just touching base with the police. It is more than just working with the police to better community. Let me also point out, because several of my comments got hidden, and this is what I told the other person that is close to this one, is in order for these particular communities, because there are a lot of communities that are left to die on purpose, mind you, for an agenda to be used up as a tool and to put blame on someone else. Perfect example of it. It's been happening. Everybody's been blaming Trump for stuff going on with the riots, racism, for perpetuating racism. He got blamed or accused of perpetuating white supremacy for fireworks over Mount Rushmore. That's how stupid this has become. Anyway, as I was saying, that is why a good reason is why racism still exists, is because it is being perpetuated not by evil white people, but by certain groups, even as far as some of our political leaders, or our politicians. It's all being orchestrated. And this might sound conspiracy theory, Alex Jones stuff, but I'm just serious. When you actually take off your emotional goggles and set them down for just a second, you will realize there's a lot more going on outside of your own, I guess, zone, so to speak. So, like I said, I've been paying attention to this stuff for quite a few years, and it's just like, wow. Anyway, let's continue on, because I do want to show you guys something here. And I even brought up Martin Luther King Jr. embracing the Star Spangled Banner as his own. He didn't say people of color needed their own Star Spangled Banner, or rather their own national anthem. It's stupid. You are at that point segregating yourself. You are putting yourself aside. Saying, "Oh, that's just for white people. That's just we need our own black one." No, that's segregation. You are subtly wanting segregation. Anyway, and I tried to talk to this individual, but Hugbox OP, a lot of my stuff was deleted and context is missing, and for some strange reason, I still get notifications on the thread, even though I'm blocked. So I got people tagging me, asking me about stuff. Something that did get pointed out to me, and because I looked up an article, and just from this article, I don't ever want to sniff near this book because the author sounds like a freaking idiot. The book was pointed out to me by this individual, White Fragility That Prevents White Americans from Confronting Racism. Yeah, it's that stupid. So I'm going to read a chunk of it and I will put a link to these articles in the description below. Let me turn off the flag momentarily. I will put it back on. Okay, so this is from the New Yorker. And so I was kind of skimming through this last night. And I'm going to read this paragraph. I'm not going to read all this freaking BS, the entire thing. You guys can read that for yourself. Much of white fragility is dedicated to pulling back the veil on the so-called pillars of whiteness, assumptions that prop up racist beliefs without our realizing it. Such ideologies, including individualism, which go on, hold on. Or the distinctly white American dream that one rights, owns destiny and objectivity, the confidence that one can free himself from entirely from bias. As a socialist trained in mapping group patterns, D'Angelo can't help but regard both precepts as naive at best and arrogant at worst. To be perceived as an individual, not to be associated with anything negative because of your skin color, that's not what being an individual means. She notes it is a privilege largely afforded to white people. It's afforded to anybody who stands up and puts their fucking foot down. Dude. Whew. Anyway, what are they? Although most school shooters, domestic terrorists and rapists in the United States are white. Okay. No, they're not. They're not. We do have, I will say, some of our school shooters, yes. But you really want to compare rapists by skin color? No, you don't. Anyway, it's rare to see a white man on the street reduced to a What the? Yes, they are reduced to a stereotype. Like you probably hear fireworks as we're going off. Yes, many white people or pale skin is reduced to a stereotype. We do it to each other as there's different stereotypes of us pale skin people. Oh, wow, she is dumb. This is dumb. Likewise, people of color often are having their views attributed to their racial identities. No, and no. I don't know what type of people you're speaking with or what group of people you're actually observing, but maybe you can expound your boundaries further, expanding? Because, yeah, no. Let's see. The luxury of impartiality is denied to them. No. No. And outlining these discrepancies, D'Angelo draws heavily on the words of black writers and scholars, T. Nahisi Cortez, Toni Morrison, excuse me if I butcher these names, Ijama Ilau, Cheryl Harris, although perhaps surprisingly she incorporates few present-day interviews with people of color. That's an interesting to put in there. But so I'm going to put this on because I have to go back to a Facebook post. So individualism, because apparently it's only a white people thing or pale skin people thing to be able to be self-reliant, lift yourself by your own bootstrap, actually break free from the bullshit around you. Apparently that's only a white people thing. Who knew? But yeah, let's see, the habit of principle of being independent, self-reliant, self-discretion, free thinking, free thought, which is a big one. So apparently it's only a white people thing to be a free thinker, have your own thoughts, be original, unconventional, eccentric. The social theory favored freedom of action for individuals over collective or state control. Interesting how she blasts individualism as a white person thing. Yeah, because a lot of us don't like the hive mind. And you also have people of color, which, by the way, let me point this out. You have a lot of people of color who are conservative or right. Terrence Williams comes to mind. For those of you who don't follow him, go look him up. He is awesome. Usually when you have people like Terrence Williams or even another YouTuber who I know is called Your Boy Pat, 30-year-old person of man of color. I believe he's also a war vet. When people of color like them speak out against the bullshit over here, they get called coons, Uncle Toms, all sorts of nasty names by their own, you know, I guess you could say people are saying skin color. I don't know how you want to phrase that. That isn't offensive. Anyway, though, so something else I'm going to show you real quick because I was trying to keep this short and sweet, but it's not going to happen. And I had a slight interruption, so that tells me I need to get to it. Anyway, I want to show you something, and I'm going to post this article in the description below as well. It's from the Smithsonian mag.com. Let me turn my flag off here. So what this article goes through the history of the author who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner, some of the things that he did. And for the life of me, last name is Keys, because if you didn't know, in Sacramento, it's either Sacramento, San Francisco, California, they just tore down a big statue of Keys, the author of Star-Spangled Banner, because he was a racist. I'm so sick of this shit. Francis Scott Key. So this is what he looked like, and a lot of people back then were slave owners. I'm not saying it was okay. It was never okay. But they want to do the Star-Spangled Banner because the author was a slave owner. Anyway, I actually like the fact that I got this notification from the thread because someone else posted this on that thread, which various comments of context of mine were deleted. So let me scroll down here because it goes into the history and whatnot. And I want you to really pay attention to this. I'm gonna read this little bit. Doesn't matter if the author of a powerful and inspirational composition in the past held views and did things with which we would not agree today, and which we would consider antithetical to the very American ideals his writing professed. So pretty much saying that the author was a contradiction to the song he wrote. It happens. Do we hold the Declaration of Independence to a higher standard than the Star-Spangled Banner? We constantly make new meaning from our past. Recently, we have seen numerous examples of our rethinking of how we publicly remember the history of the Confederacy, which, by the way, let me point out something to you wonderful people who are watching. Did you know the Civil War had more to do, the war had more to do with just slavery? It was also industry versus natural farming. Guess who wanted to keep natural farming? The South. They wanted to keep both slavery and natural farming. The North wanted to free the slaves and then bring in industrialized farming. So that war was a mixed bag. It wasn't just about slavery. Because now that we have more industrial farming, it's put natural farmers out of business, and now we have imported. You get the picture. But it was a mixed bag. So to the South people, that is why they get defensive of the Confederate flag when you want to tear it down, when people try to burn it, say, oh, this needs to go, because that is their history. They fought for their farmlands. The other thing that they fought for was utter garbage. And then when you see people in the North, and a lot of other, and various types of people too, not just in the North, but you guys get what I'm saying, is when they see the Confederate flag, it's like, we're not flying that here. We fought against that. We don't like what it stands for. So it has different meanings. Does it need to be erased from history or removed? No, I don't think so. I personally wanted to wear it. But at the same time, I'm not going to devalue the South's history with it, because they were fighting to keep their farmland. And then at the same time, I'm not going to get pissed at this person for not wanting to wear it or have anything to do with it. I respect both sides of it because I understand that the war was mixed. I know, history, not just fifis. Anyway, or whether Harriet Tubman should replace Andrew Jackson on the $20 bill, I actually thought that was actually kind of cool, because she did help influence America. There's actually one picture. There's an artist who is sketching the things out to where she's like holding a firearm, but a lot of people get freaking triggered. It was a badass picture, and I wish I had it at the tip of my fingers, but unfortunately I don't. Anyway, let's continue. Historian Pauline Maier argues that Lincoln played a huge role in reinterpreting the Declaration and making it into a motto or an ancient faith shared by all Americans. In 1856, Lincoln suggested Americans need to readopt the Declaration of Independence and with it the practices and policies which harmonize with it. Though we may have forgotten Key's racism while we remember Jefferson's, we have certainly washed it away from the song by adopting it as something to live up to. Again, he is saying that the words that this author wrote, this slave owner wrote, does not match what he did. We have taken it up and we have actually fulfilled what the words mean, what the song is actually saying. Again, who gives a damn what the author was intended for with the song? If you actually look at the lyrics today, everybody in America can embrace it. And if you feel like you can't, that is your problem. I mean, that really is. When you have people of color, soldiers, past baseball players, freaking Martin Luther King, come on, you're doing something wrong. You are doing something wrong when you have to say, well, we need our own national black anthem. No, you are segregating yourself from the rest of us. That is on you. Let's continue. Every time Jackie Robinson, which was, I believe, one of the first or in that group of professional people, person of color baseball players, still in the baselines as the anthem was played, or when civil rights movement activists had the flag ripped out of their hands as they peacefully marched. And when my dad saluted the flag at a segregated army base in Alabama fighting for a nation that didn't respect him, the song became less Keith's and more ours. And this is what I actually told these two individuals, is that the national anthem is ours and it's your guys' too. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. Just because, and this is a perfect example, just because someone intended something, and let me point to it because there's a healthy boundary, and I know because people go like, well, this can apply to everything. You got to be a little bit careful. But with this, because this is meant for everybody, peace, love, liberty, home of the brave, land of the free, what the author intended, who gives a shit what he intended? If he didn't intend black people's mind, who gives a shit? Because today, our soldiers, whether they're black, orange, purple, green, blue, white, whatever, fight for everybody. That song is for everybody. When it's played in the stadiums, the funerals, celebrations, the rallies, that song is for freaking everybody. And the fact that if you feel that you need your own anthem, you are setting yourself out in the corner by yourself. That is you. Anyway, sorry, this is jumping around. Though we should remember the flaws and failings that often animate her, say yes, take the good in with the bad. You can't just toss out the bad and keep the good. That's not how that works. To me at least, they do not need to define it. Thank you. Our flaws are to show, hey, we were there at one point, but this is how far we've grown, and we need to continue to grow and not regress. People are trying to get us to regress. Stop bumping around. We should remember that if 200 years after it was declared so by slave holder and enemy of free speech, the United States is a land of free, that is because of the brave who have called it home since dawn's early age in September 1814. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Enough. Just enough. No, we don't need to do away with the Star Spangled Banner. No, we don't need to erase history. No, we do not need to tear down these freaking monuments. It's gotten so stupid to where people were trying to get Mount Rushmore removed before the 4th of July. There's calls for it. Okay? What is done is done. You cannot have your old land back. You cannot change the past. Whatever these people intended for harm back then is now being intended for good. You know, like the Star Spangled Banner. So anyway, I have brought it on enough. I'll see you guys in the next one. Please be safe. Have a happy 4th of July and take care.